By now, you all know that the Huskers actually did it. Matt Rhule actually did it. They got their man, Dylan Raiola, 5-star, #1 quarterback coming into college this next season, officially with the Huskers. After, of course, signing day Wednesday. But we think the best part of getting this commitment is the hype surrounding Nebraska now, the buzz surrounding the Huskers, and that's going to make recruiting so much easier for this program. Gary, am I getting ahead of myself when I say that this actually feels like a safe moment to say that the Huskers are on their way back?
I agree 100%. We all want Raiola to be all he's hyped up to be, right? But take the football aspect aside, like the on-field aspect aside. It's a huge step, a farther step of what we've kind of talked about a little bit for the coaching staff and Rhule specifically in the complete 180 in just a year's time between last year's recruiting class and this year's recruiting class of not only getting some of these 4 and 5-star, these higher end athletes, better talent, whatever you want to classify it is. And I understand you and I, for example, are very different on, I don't really care about the ratings. They're rated higher for a reason. Obviously, it's like I said, it's athleticism and whatnot, but you just don't know. You can go back, you can look up Nebraska's top recruits over the last 15, 20 years or whatever. And there's a lot of them that just didn't pan out, some transfer, things like that. So all of that aside, you and I both, but I'm specifically not big on the hype and the buzz and things like that. But 17 and 18-year-old kids are. You know what I mean? They like the popular, trendier type of things. And all this attention Nebraska's getting is good when you're trying to recruit kids that age. So this is a huge step. You look back into June when Raiola visited, all the guys that came with, presumably because Rhule was coming. That was the big talk at the time before he committed to Georgia. And most of all of them just about committed to other schools. But that was when Rhule was not going to come. Since all the hype last week started, that apparently he's kind of reopened it, or he's at least back in talks with Nebraska. You started hearing about 4-star linebackers, different offensive linemen, people that are already committed to, Oregon, Miami, Texas, places like that, all of a sudden making quick visits. There was guys up here this past weekend when Raiola was here. So who knows? Maybe you're going to flip some more guys, but the important thing is you're on the same player's radar that the Alabamas and the Georgias and the Ohio States are going after. And before, we've talked ad nauseum as a fan base about how so many of these high-end talented kids never had a time period in their life where Nebraska was very relevant. So why would they? We understand the tradition and we know what's happened and would like to get back there. But to them, we're just, another Colorado or another, some other team that hasn't really done anything in their lifetime. So coming off another losing season, missing another bowl, and still pulling the biggest fish we've ever pulled, getting, I think they said Hawaii, Montana, Nebraska, Iowa, and now Georgia, depending on what source you use. We've pulled the top player from all those states. I say we, Rhule and his staff have pulled those guys out of those states when all the big schools were going after him. With a losing record, missing bowl games, looking like hot garbage on certain days, and continuing to lose close games. So there's something that they're doing. I think our NIL deal has a huge part to do with it. But we've talked from day one about how Matt Rhule kind of has that silver tongue, that used car salesman. Regardless of what your opinions are of the dude, when he starts talking, you find yourself just kind of soaking up what he's saying. And I think that goes a long way with a lot of these kids. I think they put a lot more effort and go a lot farther than previous staffs have when it comes to trying to land some of these guys. And whatever it is, it's clearly working, because this is the best couple recruiting classes, in my opinion, that we've had in a long time. And the dude's been here a year and a month now. So that's the big takeaway for me. Another thing I really love is Kalen staying. Kalen canceling his visit to Michigan State, deciding to stay. He's been in the Elite 11s with Raiola. He outdid him in some of the drills from what I heard. We talked, one of the last videos we did, if guys are afraid of competition or you're acknowledging a dude's better than you, then go. And he doesn't seem to be doing that, man. And I don't know, clearly he had other offers. So getting top end talent that's willing to compete with top end talent for positions, maybe they'll transfer later, maybe guys get hurt, if we want to get into the Raiola thing, he's still going to need an offensive line, which that still is a work in progress. Guys don't always pan out. Like I've said, there's all those underlying factors, but the big thing to me is you still have to develop guys, but you're getting guys to develop that at least on paper and on highlight film, have more high-end talent and more athletic ability than what you've got in the last previous years. And you've still had some guys pan out that go pro or are staples on Saturdays. So when you're starting with a higher talent pool, I just think in the next few years, man, things will really start turning around. I think a lot of those short losses will go by the wayside. It's probably going to be a while before we're up on, it is going to be a while before we're up on Ohio State or Michigan's level. But this, in my opinion, is the first step. Not going and getting some flashy quarterback for 1 year and hoping that he can learn a system in one off season and turn an entire program around, and then he leaves and you're back to square one. Like, this is what Rhule's talked about. In my opinion, this is the way you do it. He's going strong after offense and defensive linemen and not looking to basically pay a guy for a year to come. Everybody's making money. You're going to pay a guy a fat check or a fat amount of money to come spend his career here. Great. But I just love it, man. I think this is a bigger win for me than anything that did or could have really happened during the season. I would rather the season play out like it did and the future of recruiting look like it does now today as we look at it than to have only lost to Michigan, competed for the Big Ten championship, lost, and got into a really nice bowl game. Like, that would have been fun, and it would have been cool doing those games, and we'd have some more football to look forward to. But this is the type of shit that I've been saying for the last couple coaching staffs that has to take place at some point, and I'm just shocked it's happening this fast.
Yeah, it really is shocking that the little bit of improvement that we got from the offensive line, and don't get me wrong, I do feel like they improved, but the steps that the program made, winning one more game, looking more relevant, Matt Rhule becoming a star on social media, it's crazy that was enough to get Raiola to sway back Nebraska's way, but it really does feel like a turning point, and I've never seen you let yourself get this positive about something in a video, so that's not for nothing either. We'll have updates for you guys about recruiting all off season. We might even do a stream Wednesday morning. Let us know if you guys would be interested in that.
I hope I'm not getting too excited for nothing. It's already looking like a good recruiting class, but I definitely wouldn't be surprised. I'm actually kind of anticipating, another flip or two of some hiring guys.
We'll see you guys for those updates soon. Until then, go Big Red.